Welcome to YxYA Radio and
Yes.
another show, another day. Here we go. Joining me, Johan Shaw.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, and Benito Onyemba.
In the house, how we doing, guys?
You know what? I'm living my best life.
Living our best lives,
Every
literally.
day.
Fresh.
So fresh. Joe's, you're wearing that
Yo.
big jacket again.
Yes, bro.
On the inside.
I'm just trying
We're
to,
inside, Johan,
I'm trying
bro.
to-
There is no rain. There is no wind.
Literally.
I'm trying to stream my New York, my
Your New York, your
the New
NY.
York inside
Your
me,
NY
I'm
NYC.
trying to be as New York
Oh,
as
Lord.
possible. I've got
Help us.
I've got Tim's on. I've got bling on.
Black
I've got,
Tims, by the way, just to let you know.
Jeez.
Hey,
If you
why
don't know.
are we talking about New York?
Oh yeah. Please tell us. Do tell.
Because every week we have a beautiful guest. A beautiful guest?
Yes,
Sometimes
we do.
not. Who knows?
We went there.
We went there. But every week we have a guest. And you know what? You've noticed that no one's sitting next to me
Yeah, no one.
today. But we've got someone streaming in all the way from NYC.
New York
Ralph
City.
DaSilva.
Yes, yes, yes.
How are you, sir?
How's everyone doing?
Yes.
Doing
Yes.
good.
Good.
We're living our best lives. Are you good?
I'm chilling, man. I'm living my best life here as well. I'm chilling.
You know
Got
what,
my Timbs
Raph?
on.
I believe that you are really living your best life. Because for you to rock that moustache,
That's real.
What?
that's
What?
That's strong. I love it.
November's long gone, but he's still killing it, yo.
Nah, man. November for me is a lifestyle. November's
Oh,
very.
come on,
come on
preach, preach. And Preach is going to preach. You're actually coming down to London real soon, right?
Yes, I'll be there from April 3rd to the 7th. I cannot wait to hang out with Big Ben.
Oh.
You know
Are
that.
you talking about Benito or are you talking about Big Ben,
Talk-
like the Houses of Parliament, Big Ben?
I was talking about the House of the Parliament because
House of
I'm
the
pretty sure
Parliament.
Yes,
Benito's
yeah.
not going to want to hang out with me.
Oh, mate,
Wow.
mate. Hey, so let the people know what you do. If they don't know, let them know.
So I look after all of youth and young adults here at Hillsong Church, New York City, and it's what I do.
You
That's
love it? No?
You love it?
Okay, no, he doesn't. No, that's fine. You love it. You love it.
I love it.
That's the best. I don't know if there's a delay or, you're just ignoring me. But it's fine.
I'm not ignoring you. I love you. I would never ignore you.
Oh, God bless you. God bless you. All right, Ralph, so listen, you aren't like you haven't like flown into New York to be part of Hillsong New York. You actually born and raised in
Oh, my
NYC,
days. Yeah.
right?
That's right.
Tell us about that. Tell us about what it's like growing up on the streets of New York.
Well, I love it. I give everything I am back to New York. I grew up in Harlem, New York City, and I loved it. I always I'm just grateful just being in Harlem, growing up in the culture, all the good food. What I like to call really the Mecca of hip hop, the Mecca of basketball.
So, talking about growing up, because you actually grew up in Harlem, right?
Yeah.
And like Harlem, what people would know about Harlem from films and stuff, we all see it like as the ghetto. Is that true?
Yeah. So growing up, even how you would have probably seen it was very true. It was a rough neighborhood. You'd have the gangs, the Bloods, the Crips. You'd have like the Latin Kings, all of them represented by different colors. So you'd have the Bloods in red, the Crips in blue, Latin Kings in yellow. I grew up on this particular avenue called Manhattan Avenue, and they used to call it Money Making Manhattan because that's where all the drugs were sold. So it was just it's exactly what you did see, but it's definitely changed. And it's not as rough around the edges anymore, depending on where you're at. But it was the best place to grow up in New York City.
And you actually grew up with like, who is now like one of the most famous hip hop rap stars around, right?
Yeah. So one of my friends growing up till I was about 14, till he moved down to Texas. But I grew up with this guy named Rakim, who the world knows by A$AP Rocky. And he would be in my house every Saturday. My mom would make pancakes and eggs, and it would be me, him, our good friend Donald. Don't know where he's at, but I wish every once in a while I wish I would just run into him in my neighborhood because I still live in the same apartment that I grew up in. So every once in a while I wish that I would just run into him. But so yeah, like it was an awesome crew. We used to hang out. He used to sing. He didn't want to be a rapper. He used to want to be an R&B singer.
Oh, serious?
That's real.
I can't even
No,
imagine.
who
I didn't
is
know
that?
that. I didn't know
That's
that.
crazy.
That's cool.
And but so he was always the pretty boy, which he still is now. And like he's changing the world, doing what he's doing. And so it was awesome.
That's probably why he doesn't hang out with you anymore. There's not enough room for two pretty boys. He's like, I need to distance myself. You're making him look bad, mate.
It wasn't enough room for me, man. I had nothing to add to the music thing. So I was just like, you do you, boo.
Yeah, right.
So Raf, obviously you grew up in New York, and how did you end up in church? Like, how did you get to church? Living in Harlem.
Yeah, so my mom, she was a legitimately devoted Christian, and she used to drag me to her little church, her little Brazilian church. And I just wasn't down with it because, like I said, like I grew up in Harlem, lots of hip hop culture. So I would just come in my baggy pants, my hat backwards, and everyone in church would be like, "Nah, you can't dress like this." So I was just like, "All right, I'm not welcome here, so I'm not coming." And one day, one year, I went on this little Euro trip with my sister, and we went to London. And my cousin was living in London, and she was like, "Hey, you guys got to do this one thing while you're in London with me. Can't tell you what it is, but you just have to follow me." And we're just like, "Yeah, cool." Next thing you know, I'm at Hillsong Church in London, and it was the best experience that I ever had. Just everyone was welcoming, everyone was cool. At the time, I was single, and I was just like, "There's a lot of beautiful girls here." And, and I was just like, okay, like I never went to a church with a lot of beautiful girls.
It's true.
Next thing you know, it was real. And then next thing you know, Gary Clark is preaching, and I was just like, this, I've never heard the Bible just preached this way. And by the end of the service, I raised my hand, committed my life to Jesus, and came back to New York. Was a bit scared to get involved in church because it is a bit overwhelming at times. And that same cousin who was living in London then dragged me along back to Hillsong, New York City, about 6 months later. And Gary Clark was preaching again at the service.
Crazy.
And that's when I raised my
boss.
hand again.
Wow.
And from then on, I legitimately never stopped coming to church since 2011. And yeah, so that's kind of my journey on how I came.
So you made a decision to follow Jesus in London, and then you went back to New York City, and now you're the youth and young adults pastor in New York City.
Yeah.
Like 7 years later.
Credit goes to you guys.
That's amazing. Well, GJC.
Gee.
Gary, man.
Legend.
Yeah. Boss. All right. So, listen. In London, we're talking about positively shaping society.
Yeah.
And so for us, like we know what that looks like in London and how we do that. Just people taking ownership of their sphere of influence, what they're in. What does that look like in New York? How do you positively shape society in New York?
Yeah, I think for me, I do like I said. I know I was talking about my mom a little bit, but she's like the inspiration for me outside of Jesus, and like I would see her in her outworking daily, like doing the small things. I would see her like always never just in a rush and always just in a rush to help people. So I would just do the small things, man. So for me, like the same commute I take every morning to work, I'm making sure that I'm holding the door for someone, that I'm smiling on the train station or in the train car when people are just in a rush and just trying to get places. I'm just like, you know what? I'm just going to do my part and just, bringing some joy and some hope into people's lives. So for me, that's really like my small thing where I go, you know what, I'm just going to bring positivity to people where people just want to be negative and angry in the morning. I just go, I'm just going to smile. I'm just going to ask people on the train how their day is going already, which always surprises people when I try to talk to them on the train. They're just like, what are you doing? I'm like, oh, I just want to see how you're doing. And it's also by trying my best to just impact the people around me to continue to be an influence in their small sphere so that we could continue to just reach New York City for all it's called to be.
That's cool, man.
Nice, Raf. So you've been talking a lot about your mum, like your mum's been your inspiration, all that kind of stuff. But for people that don't know you, just explain the last couple of years.
Yeah. So about 6 years ago, my mom was she was diagnosed with stage 4 breast cancer, and like doctors did not give her like too much time to live after that, and you know, like we just like my mom was just like, yeah, like I'm just gonna battle this. So I really feel like God's gonna heal me from this, and you know, we started to just walk out that journey with chemo sessions every single Monday for about 3 years. So she was able to kind of live past the small expectation that the doctors like put on her. And like within that, I had decided to but I decided to go to Bible college in the midst of when she was dealing with breast cancer. So I spent like a year kind of away from her, but it was one of the best years because I got to meet like McLaren, got to meet Benito, a whole bunch of the guys that just help like build the church over there with you guys, and they kind of helped me just stand tall in who I was.
Yeah, amazing.
So I was able to kind of stand on their strength and their shoulders, and and then after that, so about 3 years ago, like my mom went to heaven, and it was just one of the craziest times in my life because hopefully like anyone else, like my mom was my everything. Like she was the most like confident woman. She was courageous. She was just daring. So like even like in her wanting to move to America just to make sure that her children were born here to have like a great future and to have all the possibilities aligned for them. She was, at least to me, like the clearest picture of Christ I've ever seen. So like when I would see her, I'd see Jesus and just like working through her in just every single one of her actions.
So Raf, like loads of people, if they lost a loved one or something, lost their mum, lost their dad, their wife, husband, like whoever, someone real close to them, loads of people at that point in their life would kind of lose their faith in Jesus or their hope in him. How did you keep that?
Like we always hear it in church, right? Where it's just like show me your 5 friends, I'll show you your future. And I think I'm just thankful that I was able to have really good friends around me that kind of just wouldn't let me settle for the status quo. Yeah. Wouldn't let me settle for what society would tell me life was going to look like after I lost a loved one. But they kind of told me what life would just be like if I continue to just hang on to Jesus. So I think for me, I was just able to just go, like, what would my mom do? Like, I saw my mom on her hospital bed in her worst times, like crying out to God, clinging on to Jesus, fighting for hope with the Holy Spirit. And I just go, if my mom was doing that in and during her worst times, like I got to do that here. Yeah. So amazing. For me, it wasn't even a kind of a choice. And of course you fight the battles of just going, God, why is this happening? Like, why this? Why was this given to my mother? But through that, you're just like, you know what? Like for me, it was just like going back to my resolve being, I saw my mom fight through what was said was going to be the impossible. And I just saw her fight through it. Yeah. So it was just like, this is a no-brainer that I gotta continue to keep my faith in Jesus and his promises and everything that he has for me.
Amazing. Yeah, that's good, Raf, man. And like talking about maybe just youth and young adults, of course, I think the state of young people around the world is similar, what they struggle with. But what are some of the things that you're really passionate about and you guys want to implement in the city, in the communities? How do you guys want to positively shape the society you live in a world which is filled with pain and hurt, like you described there? How are you guys bringing hope?
Yeah, I think for us, and I think for me personally, I always see people dreaming. Yeah. Always see people with these big dreams, but they don't know how to facilitate it or move forward with it, or like, what's my next step? Like, what do I do with this big dream that I feel like God's placed on my heart? And I think for me is I want to create a space and a place in New York City that young kids are able to come to and go, this is the dream that I have.
Yeah, it's good, man.
So here is the place to outwork that, for me to grow, for me to do everything I need to do. So that's kind of like how we're shaping and what we're trying to do here as a young adult and a youth ministry here in NYC.
Dope, bro. All right, Benny boy, you got a joke for us? Raf, you know, Benito in London is like the king of jokes. And he has people laughing in fits. Johan loves Benito's jokes. It's like his favorite thing in the whole entire world, right?
I hate this section.
So, Benny boy, you got a joke for us?
Yo, Raf, what's the best way to get message to God?
I couldn't hear it.
What's the best way to get a message to God? If you want to get a message across to God, what's the best way?
Via Instagram?
Ooh. Email. Right?
No idea.
Guys?
Thanks for coming, Raf. Thanks for...
Raf,
this has been really good up to this point.
Having you on the show.
We love you, man.
Ladies and gentlemen, give it up for Raf DaSilva.
Yes, mate.
And we can't wait for you to come to London.
I hear better jokes.
God bless. We love you.
We love you too, man. Thanks for having me.